All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
No.
Did not carry. Roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Yay.
Councilmember Bolden.
Nay.
Councilmember Blevins.
Yay.
Councilmember Sansing.
Nay.
Councilmember Ray.
Nay.
Councilmember Mashburn.
No.
Councilmember Traylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Twitty.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
No.
Councilmember Raines.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor,
What's the,
we have a tie.
Councilmember Deeds, did you vote yea or nay?
you voted, how did you vote? You voted yes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's get it over with.
All right, we're gonna do it.
I vote yes.
Okay. Well, you can't vote no, so.
That's right.
I missed my
Oh, okay, we go that way.
I'm gonna let people get by. I don't knock them over. I'll just go last.
No, that's fine. Yes, sir. Hey, maybe you turn. They still not here?
Turn, Steph.
Yes, sir.
Look at my hand.
Put that up. We're gonna get an assault charge. I'm gonna go grab water. Do you want me to grab some?
No, I'm fine, I guess. I might just take a stroll myself.
Yeah.
Are we keeping it running? No, I.
I was told, I was surprised, I was gone, everything got clean. Somebody lied. Thank you. Hey, I got. Yeah, roots is.
Knock down some walls?
Down that one.
Yeah. I should do that. I'll take a camera out there tomorrow.
I saw the way you look back, I should be going to serve.
I know. I always look up there. But sometimes like, hindsight's 20/20, right?
Yeah, I got a lot of hindsight right now.
Good to see you.
Take care.
I think that's all. Yeah. I ordered new parts for it.
Yes, I am. I gotta go put the child in sheet.
You haven't moved since I left 3 years ago. Didn't make you 6 cents for a year.
Here all the time.
Every Washington, Susan, Jackson. Y'all seen outward how that. Not ready to bed. Not shut it off. You know, I just go like, somebody goes, well, this money in, but you have to make yourself do something. But I think golf, you realize how bad I am. I got out. I feel like you and me now. Well, for that part, you know, Michelle says there was a little bit of that. It was loaded up right after I left. Back up on the work, and we're on my results.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all downhill from here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna come in and see you. Well, you do that, sweetheart. I got it. I'm doing much better. As you can tell, I'm not on a walker, I'm on a cane. I'm not fast yet, but I'm getting there. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie, like, I was originally gonna I was like, wait a minute.
I'm gonna Bishop get to his chair and Terry.
I can continue my nap.
Reedy, I'd entertain a motion for you to go back. I entertain a motion for us to go back into our regular agenda.
Second.
Got a motion, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Who gonna get the
Okay.
public announcement of what we did?
What did we do?
We didn't take a vote. There was no vote taken.
There was no vote taken.
You got to say something to the public.
Just
Have
the
you
reason,
raised it?
the reason why
Okay.
to executive session, but if no vote was taken.
No vote was taken. We discussed, we worked it out, and we're done, so. All right, so that brings us on to ordinance 1680. I entertain a motion to put 1680 on the first reading.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden.
Aye.
Councilmember Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Ashburn. Trailer.
Aye.
Whitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Ordinance number 1680, an ordinance creating and certifying tax liens against real properties at various locations within the city for balances due from services rendered by and or on behalf of the city of Jacksonville, Arkansas, and for other purposes.
Okay, discussion. Does everybody know what we're doing?
Good question.
Yes, sir.
On the last page, page 42, about halfway down, is that a typo or is that real?
That 11, which number?
11,000.
That's correct. That is,
I saw another 1,175 down there. I thought it might have been a.
well, there was
There's one
a,
that's over 19,000 as well.
yeah, I think you're talking about the George Gage trailer park we had to remove.
I thought the 19,000 was the total.
I don't have it with.
Yeah, no, in total it's over $30,000 worth of stuff between the 3 pages.
So which one are you asking about?
It was the 11,000 one.
Okay. Which is that it?
Chris Gambit.
Oh, yeah, that was a house we had to tear down, that had asbestos in it. That was partially burned. And just for information, they're receiving bids right now on the house on corner of Hickory and Gray. This half burned and looks like a junkyard. Yeah, yeah.
That was all I had.
Okay, any further discussion on, this is what we do. You have unpaid, with code, we file a lien on your property, so maybe one day we collect some money. Okay.
What do we, question, so what do we do
Do these people know? Do we contact them?
Yes.
And then do we start a process here?
They've been notified they have outstanding balance. They were given a certain time period to repay that and told that if they didn't, they would have a lien on their property. So if this is approved, this will go to Pulaski County and this will go on their taxes for next year.
Good.
And if it's ever sold, then it'll have to pay through closing.
Right.
And you said that we currently have an open bid for condemned property. When's the closing date on that?
We have the one that's open bids. We're trying to find where we can get those done at a lesser price than what we've been paying. So we've been contacting some other people that might do this for us and make.
So
bids.
there's no set date, closing date of opening of the bids being open?
I don't know if they have to do a bid or what they do at code. They kind of do their. It is a bid. Okay. But yeah, so there'll be something when that's done. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve on first reading, put on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Golden.
Aye.
Levens.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Mashburn.
Aye.
Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
I'd entertain a motion to approve on second reading, put on third and final reading.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Golden.
Aye.
Levens.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Mashburn.
Aye.
Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
Before I go to the next one, does anybody have any further comments they wish to say on this?
I do have a question. So are any of the people listed like reoccurring individuals in the city that have outstanding balances from previous times?
I would
previous
guess
events?
yes, but I don't know for sure.
I would think that that's a fair assumption. I don't have a number. I haven't compared this to previous years.
Okay.
And I do want you to notice how long this list is.
Yeah, it's 3
And
pages.
that's a direct reflection on how much better code is operating now that it's under PD and they've got a lieutenant over it and sergeant in there. They seem to really be getting out and doing a much better job. The house on Hospital has now been torn down at the owner's expense. So getting these burned houses tore down are really important. And these vacant houses that are causing people to stay in that shouldn't be there. So, but I'm just saying, code's done a great job.
For sure.
Can we
Right.
Yes, and
Yes.
Yeah, I was-
Let's give code a hand. Pass that on. Oh, you're either Lieutenant Wright. I just want to tell you thank you and what a good job your code enforcement's doing. I know it's a learning process, but we do appreciate it, don't we, y'all?
Yes, Lieutenant Wright has been doing an exceptional job, and I can't thank him enough for all of the work that he's done and working with the community on this.
Thank you. All right, now I'd entertain a motion to approve and adopt 1680.
So move.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Golden.
Aye.
Levens.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Mashburn.
Aye.
Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith.
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
I'd entertain a motion for emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Golden.
Aye.
Levens.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Mashburn.
Aye.
Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Okay.
Raines.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to an item of budgetary issue for Councilmember Blevins.
I was in the budget meetings, and in the budget meeting when I was talking with the maintenance department, the newly maintenance department, I noticed that there was a big omission of the $10,000 maintenance that was usually been allocated for building maintenance for the Boys and Girls Club. And there was some conversation that happened during the meeting, and so I decided to call the board and ask them if they knew that some of this stuff was happening, and they decided they would like to come up here and talk.
Okay, and you were told during that meeting the only reason But it actually is in the budget. It's contingencies under the maintenance. But
Yes, sir. And
that's
and
okay,
I
but they have to sign a lease before we'll go in the building for
and I did explain that you added it after they had already said they wanted to come up here, and after
That's
speaking
fine.
with them, they still would like to come address the council.
You're welcome to come and speak. Monday, we sent Marshall Nash the lease. I have a copy of it if y'all would like to have that lease. I printed you a copy and brought it in case you haven't seen it. But if someone's going to speak, please introduce yourself and tell us what position you hold on the board.
Absolutely. My name is Freddie Scott. I'm the vice chair of the board.
Tarek Shahada, I'm just on the board. I'm on the development committee too.
Johnny Hicks on the board.
Our treat man, Johnny who?
Well, we're here, first of all, thank you, Mayor. Mayor, and to the honorable city council individual members, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for Councilman Blevins. So we're here, thank you for the copy of the lease. We'd love to take a look at it.
Sure.
Have our normal legal review. We're so excited about the opportunity to continue to work with the city. I think we're all on the same page because we understand the importance of working with our children. It's beyond the sports and the recreation that can be afforded them, but we're excited about the opportunity to build character and build an opportunity for them to grow professionally, career-wise as well, and have the Boys and Girls Club as the catalyst to make that happen. So we appreciate an opportunity to work with you. They're excited about taking a look at the lease and getting that out of the way.
Okay.
Appreciate that opportunity as well.
Right, and where it doesn't list Boys and Girls Club anymore in the budget, it's listed as, potential contingencies. Because it's the same lease we have for the Chamber Senior Center. We up to $10,000 will match in
So
repairs to the building.
So for
And-
the
and-
record,
yeah.
am I understanding that the document refers to an agreement between the city and is there a particular entity there for that?
The Boys and Girls Club.
It does, okay, I understand what
The
you're saying.
Boys and Girls Club. There's 3 501c3s that operate in city businesses, and we have the same lease with all of them.
Gotcha.
Our maintenance department's requiring these leases for they enter the building to change your air filters, fix a leaky, drinking fountain or whatever. And major things we'll talk about, and we'll try to help you get money to do that,
Yeah.
to do major repairs.
I was going to ask you, Mayor, is there any list that differentiates what's our responsibility as
It's in the
it's in
It's
there?
in the
what
lease,
okay,
right.
And I
perfect.
apologize for not sending it to the entire board. I sent it to Mr. Nash. I
Okay,
didn't have
he
it.
did not say, he said today he did not get it, so I'm going to check this.
Yeah, I sent it.
And she copied me, so I printed it,
We
and,
believe that, but
Right.
he
We didn't have everybody's
it
email.
must be
right.
He did not receive it.
So after y'all look at it, discuss with Stephanie and myself, and we'll be happy. If you need to come back before the board, we'll do that,
Okay, wonderful,
okay?
very good. Any particular questions beyond that?
Does anybody else have questions for the Boys and Girls Club?
How many kids do y'all have at the Boys and Girls Club at this time?
So, very good question. We had, obviously, everyone was impacted by the pandemic. And so I believe on record, and don't quote me on this, I need to defer to our CEO, Ms. Jasmine Wakefield, but I believe the number is right around mid-20s that they're managing, because there has to be from a safety perspective, be in position to account for staff and member ratio for safety. So that huge impact of the pandemic, but there are clubs throughout the state that had to go through the same thing, and we're leveraging our experiences to we can't make parents do it, but we can have a safe environment, leverage safety measures to make sure that when they're there, they have an enjoyable experience, not just for the members, but also for the staff as well.
We definitely want more than one. Absolutely.
Okay, no, this is the Jacksonville Boys and Girls Club. Are all the board members citizens of Jacksonville?
Yes, sir.
No, I'm not either.
I'm not anymore, no, sir.
Mr. Nash is.
Yes, yes.
He lives out at North
I
Lake.
lived here at one time.
So I understand there's 20 members. Is that what you're saying?
I believe it's mid-20s, and I can certainly, if you don't mind, I'd love to get back with you the exact number of the membership, but I don't think it exceeds 25%.
I was told 28 recently.
28?
So that
Okay.
was, yeah,
All right.
within a month. And you're starting your basketball program, if I understand correctly?
Again, it's on the operations side, but we're very into this.
And you're working at getting it done.
I'm sorry?
You're working at getting the basketball program
Absolutely.
too. Right, that's my understanding.
And part of that is, again, gets back to safety, you know, having to leverage which teams come in, when they come in, because it's an exciting time for spectators as well. So
Yes.
wanted to create that environment, but that won't go away, absolutely not.
Good.
One other question.
Yes, sir.
How is communication between the board and your CEO now? I've had some rather disturbing phone calls concerning a certain dysfunction in communication.
Yes. I would like to first acknowledge that, like most organizations, we have some levels of dysfunctions, and communication is certainly one that we'll continue to work on. It's been challenging because we're all full-time employees, and there are things we've been in a transition with the new CEO, et cetera, bringing her on board. But we're very interested in growing that CEO board relationship, and nothing will prohibit us from continuing to grow, even incorporating some professional development.
Any other questions of the Boys and Girls Club?
No, I'd just like to thank you guys for all of the work that you're doing to enhance the lives of our future leaders.
Well, I appreciate that. Just for the record, we're all doing various elements to what we call time, talent, and treasure, to what we bring to the table. And don't know if you're aware, but there's federal dollars that have been given to the state to identify families and students that are considered homeless. And believe it or not, in Jacksonville, there have been a trend going up on kids experiencing homelessness.
Most
And
definitely.
It's not just in the street or under a bridge, but those that may be in a vehicle, staying with other relatives, don't have a permanent address.
Staying in a kitchen, I've heard that.
Absolutely. So there are dollars that are available. We're looking to work and with the school districts and with other entities too to identify who they are, because there are a lot of resources available to them. If we work with them, then it assists in keeping them from migrating over to foster care, for example. Is that an issue? So,
Yeah, and I definitely love hearing that you guys are looking to work with those individuals, those families, and getting the resources to them so that they, again, are having that quality enhancement that the future leaders of our country need.
well, thank you. And I might just add to that, it's one thing having professional development given to staff, educators, but so too the bus drivers, the security, I believe barbershops, other people within the community can also, they see some things work. It's about identifying those members who may be challenged, and thank you, there are resources available to them.
If I may say one other thing, and no respect, I just because I don't live here, I don't live here, but my heart's here for sure. I just wanted to make that known to everybody on the board, and my heart's with the club for sure. 100%.
Thank you. I know he is.
Because you don't live here, it's a plus that you are supporting. Because the Boys and Girls Club is a national organization, not a city organization. That's right. So we do appreciate the fact that you.
In fact, if that being the case, we had to leverage our national organization to assist us during this transition here, so they're providing a lot of support for us.
Yeah, because you lost a real good CEO.
Yeah, we did. Well,
Just
that was their
encourage-
decision.
Just encourage the board, the CEO, and all the parties involved to work together and remember it's for the benefit of the kids. That's your priority.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
It's not about
Totally agree.
anybody's personalities.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Totally agree.
Okay, have questions, contact our city attorney, Ms. Friedman.
My closing comment is that I think one thing that prompted the conversation was about the maintenance understanding. There's no paperwork per se, but we'll look forward to find out exactly what's available, and we'll make sure we
Sure.
the national organization came around and did an assessment of the facility from a safety perspective. So we identify some, those things to ensure that we're on top of things, because those are membership requirements as well. So we appreciate the opportunity to have
Okay.
anything available to us, and we work with Mr. House.
We want to be good
identify some
partners.
things. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you for your time.
Johnny.
Mr. Mayor, I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So just to clarify, the $10,000 for maintenance was never out of the budget. It's
No,
been
it
in
was
there
just
the
moved
entire
over
time.
to the maintenance budget.
It was just under a different line.
Yeah, and a different name.
So,
It's there.
okay.
It's in the
I just
budget.
want to make sure that that's
Under,
on record.
since we have this new maintenance department we've never had before, we don't know what air conditioner go out in this building, what heaters, what's going to happen over at the community center. So we've got some, things in there to potentially help with anything like that, or will help if anything happens. Whereas it's Boys and Girls Club Senior Center are, but no, it's always been in there, just not the same line item. Okay, that brings us, yes.
I would just like to clarify that I was in the meeting
Right.
with Kevin House and yourself, and the thing that prompted all of this was I asked, where is this money? And you said they are not getting the money unless this is signed.
Right, and you were
Okay.
told, not necessarily by me, you were told in that meeting, when they sign the lease, then it'll be there.
Yeah, but at the time it was not there.
Because the lease wasn't signed.
Absolutely. I'm
It's
just
still
saying
not
that
there
is why
until they sign the lease.
that is what prompted me to contact them.
Well,
That's,
that's
what I'm saying.
fine.
It was not there when
Well,
I
I think
about it.
we all have better knowledge now. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, so that brings us to ordinance 1681, which is our budget ordinance, and my department heads are here to answer questions, but I would ask that we put it on the first reading. I'd entertain a motion to put ordinance 1881 on the first reading.
So move.
Are we gonna do the budget review or just put it there and then we're gonna discuss it? I didn't know how we're gonna do that. Is it?
Budget review is listed as C,
Okay, so do we want to do it reverse order? Okay, I just thought the review would be 81. What do y'all want to do as a group? You want to go ahead and read it and then discuss it? Whether we vote on it or not tonight or not, doesn't matter. But we can just read it and go on and not have a review. That will be our review, if that's.
This
Do I
mayor
need a
move to put
motion?
ordinance 1681 on first reading.
Second.
Okay, got a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye. Oh, no, I need a roll call, sorry. Roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden.
Aye.
Councilmember Blevins.
Aye.
Councilmember Sansing.
Aye.
Councilmember Ray. Councilmember Mashburn.
Aye.
Councilmember Trailer.
Aye.
Councilmember Twitty. Councilmember Smith. Councilmember Raines.
Okay, and yeah, sorry. So that we're clear, are we talking about 1679?
No, 1681 is the new number now.
Yeah, the only
Which is,
difference is the ordinance number.
it's on your
Okay.
desk, but at 79, it's really 81.
Okay, yeah, aye.
Okay.
Ordinance number 1681, an ordinance adopting a fiscal budget for 2022, making appropriations and authorizing expenditures for operation of various departments of city government for the purchase of materials, supplies, equipment, and services covering general fund operations, street fund, emergency medical services fund, shooting range fund, and sanitation fund, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Thank you. All right, now then, it's open for discussion. Whatever department head y'all would like to ask questions about the budget to. If you want to start with Cheryl to give us an overview, I'm just asking y'all what y'all would like.
With we start with Cheryl?
Yes. And you may want to get a microphone and a seat, Cheryl.
Yeah, she needs to get over here in front with
Oh, she probably needs her computer.
Computer is plugged in.
Oh.
We need to get you a taller chair.
There is one right behind her.
Okay. All right, I have the budget document on my computer.
Is she recording loud enough? She might need to come
Evidently it went to sleep or something.
Pull your mic down, Cheryl.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
have the budget on my computer, and any changes that we make, I will make a note and I'll make those corrections later instead of taking the time to do it here. But
I guess what we're asking is for an overview, am I correct, Councilmember Raines?
Yeah,
Mayor, I'd like to
that's what you were saying. Sorry.
Okay.
There was a lot of.
go ahead.
Okay. Well, while we are bringing your computer up, I do have a question on the differences between we have reoccurring line item of estimated revenue funds available for blank versus the budgeted distributions for the 2022 budget. There are a couple of sections where those numbers are not equal.
Right.
Section 3 and whatnot.
the general fund and the street fund have to be balanced. The revenues have to match the appropriations or the expenditures. The enterprise funds, they do not have to match because they operate more like a business, which some of them, they have more revenues than they have expenditures, but then they also have, some years they have more expenditures than they have revenues. And the difference would be covered by their fund balance. And so that's the reason why EMS, sanitation, and the shooting range, they do not have to match a balance.
Right. So those funds going over the amount would be covered by their. You said they have a surplus fund.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Or by
general fund.
From the general fund, correct?
Correct. I can't get my balance to work. Well, it's
Mr.
not
Mayor, I'd like
accepted.
to commend the accounting department for all these years I've been on the council. We've always come with a balanced budget. We never had any trouble with the auditor. And I think this year is a little different. $23 million budget is a lot of money, and we just have to manage it.
That's the biggest budget we've ever had. Okay, thank you. Are we working on technical stuff?
Yes.
Is Emily? Okay.
Okay, there it goes. Okay, I finally got it up.
Okay.
Okay.
So, council members, questions of Cheryl. Councilmember Blevins.
I called and asked you a little bit about this, and I was wondering if you could explain it just a little bit more, because I don't think I really walked away with a good idea. Now, I know that when we went over the budget items, there was a lot of items that were budgeted for 2021 that we did not spend that money. They were budgeted for 2021. We had the money allocated for them, but we did not end up spending it. And some of those same exact items are duplicated this year because for 2022, because they're money that we're going to end up spending in 2022 to buy the stuff because it wasn't available in 2021.
Correct.
So my question is did that money just go into the money that we allocated? Did that go into the general fund, or was that money added into this number to allow it? Is that why we're at $24 million?
No. The items that were budgeted in the 2021 budget that did not get purchased this year, the department may have decided that they needed that money to be used on a different purchase instead. And in that case, then they may have opted to just wait on, because something may have come up as an emergency that wasn't planned for, but needed to be done. And so therefore they reallocated that money, which they have the authority to do so, as long as their bottom line budget does not go over what was budgeted.
Absolutely.
And so therefore they still needed what was budgeted for in 21, so they're putting it in the 22 budget so that they could get it in 2022.
So there is no excess money?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an estimate of what our reserves will be, how many days of reserves we'll have at the end of 2020? We haven't got that audit yet.
Yeah, we haven't gotten the audit yet, but I'm estimating that it's around 80 days.
Okay. Of course, you know my goal's 90.
It's the 2020 audit is being completed now, and I think that what I've estimated for the end of 21, using the 22 budget, it looks like it'd be close to 80 days.
And where were we about 5 years ago?
I can't remember that. we were down. We had gotten down really low to where we were.
That's why I'm gonna be quiet.
Like just a few weeks or something like that. We had gotten really bad.
Okay, any more questions, Cheryl? Okay.
It was noted that this is our largest budget as of yet. Would you say that that is because of CARES Fund monies, or what would you say that that is?
I think that it is due to our city and county sales tax, because since they passed the law to use the internet sales, that has boosted our sales tax revenue tremendously.
Right.
And that's the reason why it is as high as it is.
So because they've been charging sales taxes on online transactions.
True.
And I think that's what you're seeing with the state that's now turned around and going to try to lower income taxes, because that generated more than was projected, not just for the state, but for the county and for the city. And we get part of the county turn back money for the city.
Mm-hmm.
County gets very little. They get like 12% of that 1 cent for the county. It's split between the cities mostly. So I think that's the biggest change we've seen. And less border bleed. I think we've seen some of that, and more people are eating local and not going because restaurants haven't been open and stuff of that nature, and fewer people are going to restaurants. I think it's more local. Okay, any more questions of Cheryl?
I have one question. On the Chamber of Commerce, the preliminary budget was 50,000, but recommended was 0.
Right, because whenever we were at first beginning the preliminary budget, we were thinking that we be able to do a contract with the Chamber of Commerce, but then we found out that we could not do that as a city entity, the way that we have because we already have a contract through our A&P commission with the Chamber of Commerce, and it would be like double dipping out of city.
So, in the answer to that, it's not something we're taking away from 2020 or 2021.
No.
Our dealings with the city with the chamber is no different than it's ever been.
Right. Yeah.
It kind of looks like we gave it to them, but then
Yeah, but
We
no,
wanted to,
we
but
wanted to give them
we were
extra
informed
money,
we
but then
couldn't.
we were informed that it wouldn't be able to do that, so that's that's the reason why it was in there in the preliminary, but then whenever we found out that we couldn't do it, that's the reason why it was taken out.
Councilmember Blevins.
Are we asking all the questions right now, or are we asking just the ones for Cheryl and Finance?
Well, if you got one
Overall.
for a department head, save it till later. If it's overall
Yeah, that's-
budget, if it's
well-
going to be Cheryl, we're going to answer it. Then.
Yeah, it's finance. I just have a question.
Yeah.
The $43,000 contract that you have listed that you're entering into, is that the one that we voted on earlier in the year for the audit, for the new audit company?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because I remember that number was more than $43,000, so I was kind of curious why it, I mean, I'm glad it came in less, but
No, that contract is more than that. Hold on just a second. And I'll go into my contract services.
If it's more than that, is there a possibility for it being covered under 2 line items instead of just one?
It's in my contract services, which is my 50/30 account, and the total amount of my contract services is $82,065.
You said which fund?
That's in the general fund under Department 11. So that contract is actually $80,200. for our auditing services.
That would be different.
It's a larger, because we had been using McAllister and Associates, which is a local firm, and now we're going to be using BKD. So the price increased.
McAllister didn't bid.
Yeah, McAllister did not bid.
Okay, and just so that I'm clear, so Department 11, contractual services, which line item under that?
First one.
First one.
Well,
The
allow volunteers line?
the contract services / allow / volunteer, yeah, it's in that line.
I think all or most of the department heads are here to answer questions too, if you need them. Which I want to say thank you to those council members that did come to the different meetings and sit in on those, because it's really informative for one, the council members, and for us to get your feedback during those meetings.
Some of us don't have a job or work full-time, so we have to do that.
I know. I wasn't yelling at Mr. Traylor. Oh, Councilmember Blevins.
It's fine. I also asked this, and I know that you weren't definitely clear on it, but the bus plan that we voted on for Rock Region, that was not in the budget. Did you determine where that money was going to come out of? If it was coming from street, or if it was coming from capital improvements, or did we decide where that money was?
I do not believe that I put that in the budget. However, if it fits the mass transit definition, we can take it out of the CARES Act funds, which is not in any of our funds.
Okay.
And since that's what they do, you would think it would fall in that category, but
Right.
we got to make sure before we do it.
They had CARES money that they were going to put in, so I think that we'd be able to use our CARES money.
Yeah, we just want to make sure.
I have a question.
Yes, Councilmember Deeds.
Okay, so since we've worked so hard in the years coming up before getting Chamber of Commerce going, I'm glad we're going to be able to help. I know where the money's coming from. Is there anything we can do to help them if they run into an issue that we can do, like utilities and things like that, to help? Because I know they're trying to go to 2 positions, but we've worked hard and had a really good director the last 2 or 3 years for the Chamber of Commerce. And I hate to see that go down the hill real fast, because a city like this needs to have a good Chamber of Commerce. I wish it could be self-supporting, but I'm sure most of them aren't. But I wish we could check into this and see if they need help, that we would be able to help some if we have some excess.
We are statutorily prohibited from providing a general subsidy. So as a city, we cannot pay their utilities. We cannot just subsidize them. If that makes sense. That's why A&P can have a contract for services, but the city cannot.
And that was Mackie Pierce's ruling back in 17.
There was an amendment to the Arkansas Constitution. There's been a statutory change, and there's now case law that supports that.
And back in 19, Stephanie and Lanny Richmond, the Chamber, the museum, and the Boys and Girls Club, we all met to see what could be done. And Lanny and Stephanie worked out with each one of those entities what we can do, can and can't do.
Okay, thank you.
We can come to the A&P Commission and ask for the extension, for the extension on what we already funding, to help if we get in a hard spot,
as long as they provide the service.
Exactly.
Did that in for you, Steph?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I do have to say that we've got things moving in the right direction in Jacksonville as far as new business coming to town. I'm not allowed to say what they are, but we've got some interest of new businesses coming here, so exciting.
Them chickens coming is going to be really nice.
So,
You did approve that.
yeah. So any more questions? Anybody have a director they wish to direct a question to, or?
I'd
any-
like to speak to the fire department and the police department.
Okay. Y'all just each take your microphone, go to the table, and we'll let Cheryl stay up there with her computer to help. Cheryl, you can have the stool if you'd like it.
I'm fine.
Okay. We don't want y'all fighting either. No, you're green. You're good. And please state your name for the record when you.
Chief
Brett
Love-
Hibbs.
Go ahead. I'll start
Chief
with
Lobby.
you. Chief Hibbs, can you tell us that you have everything that we need for the police department for this next coming year?
No, I'm very pleased with this budget, more pleased. It's more than I expected I would end up with. I don't know if it's our biggest budget ever, but I'm super happy with it.
But we've got enough to where we can work with. How many police officers do we have?
Right now I have 59. I have slots for 70, and so hopefully next year I'll go up quite a bit to 70. It's going to be tough in this field right now, but
So let me just clarify that. We're budgeting for how many?
70.
Yeah, okay, that's what I want to make sure. So-
I have slot. That's what I mean, slots for 70.
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna work on hiring. I'm working really on retention right now, keep people from leaving. I'm going to places that are offering bonuses for certified officers, so I'm fighting to keep the ones I have. And next, I'm gonna work on recruiting. In this market, it's very tough because every department around us is working on recruiting and trying to recruit certified officers from each other. So I'm gonna start recruiting from the community and do more for people that live here.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Chief Lobby, the same question goes to you about your department.
Well, it's a similar answer. The budget that we propose is something we can work with for 2022. And we're asking for a total of 76 funded positions, and that includes the 6 positions additional.
Okay. And your new ambulance, you have people lined up to support it?
We started the process of interviewing and giving conditional hires for new personnel, but with the transition of others either retiring or resigning for personal reasons, it's kind of been a catch-up. So we're really only up 1 position of the 6 that we need. I expect a member to leave the 3rd week of December, and maybe in the 1st quarter of next year, someone may leave as well. I'm not really sure. So it's a constant flux. It's the normal day-to-day business for the fire department.
How many do you have on roll now?
69 people right now.
How many are you budgeting for?
76. We have 70 that are funded now. I'm asking for 76, but we have 69 right now.
But we're doing good right now, though, right? Until we get this new ambulance?
It depends on what you mean by good. And I don't mean to be difficult by that, but what do you mean by that?
No, I'm talking like if we had a major crisis here in town,
Right.
would we have enough people at the fire department to manage that?
No.
I know that we'd have to have more from outside, but I'm just saying in our entity, in our city.
Right now, no. If we had a mass casualty incident, if we get past 6 or 7 patients, we would be overwhelmed.
Okay,
So the answer is no.
thank you.
Yes.
What about code enforcement, Chief Hibbs?
I appreciate what y'all said earlier. I think, in my opinion, I don't know what you see, but code is going very well. We've made a bunch of changes since I've been over there, and I put a Lieutenant Wright in charge of it. I have a supervisor, which we didn't have before. I have a civilian supervisor that directly supervises the code officers. She reports to Lieutenant Wright. I want to add another code enforcement officer this year. So I'll have 4 officers and 1 supervisor, and Lieutenant Wright overseeing it. Lieutenant Wright is also over some other parts of the police department, like the jail and a few other things. So he has several different areas. Most of his focus, though, is on code. The code enforcement budget, we increased some things that we want to tear down some houses we haven't been able to do before. So hopefully next year we're going to do that. We had to cut it. He's got a long list of houses to tear down. We don't have enough money for it. So next year we're going to work on, and he is going to work on trying to make that money stretch as far as we can to get some stuff cleaned up.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Raines.
Chief Hibbs, could you elaborate on that civilian supervisor position that you were explaining?
Yeah, I had a sergeant in code enforcement that reported Lieutenant Wright, and that sergeant now is a community officer on the police department side, and I promoted a code officer, Marissa Barger, to create a position called code supervisor. So she supervises the other code officers, and mainly what I want in that is following up. Like I had somebody asked me about some cars we tagged at a house a while back. I want to make sure those officers go back and do their job and follow up, whether it's 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, whatever it is, and do their job. So a lot of what she does is follow up, but she also does code cases also.
Right.
If that answers your question.
It does.
Councilmember Blevins.
Chief Laffey, you said that you had six positions, which I know that we saw that they were going to be brought in, which was the team that was going to be for the ambulance. Now, when I called to ask questions about this earlier, I was told that there was going to be 3 for the fire department and 3 for EMS. Is that correct?
Well, it's 3 for the fire department. When we were discussing that, what I was talking about typically, because all of the personnel work in the fire department and we assign crews to the fire side and we assign crews to the EMS side, we have 2 budgets by which we can pay them. So typically our licensed paramedics we pay out of the EMS fund, and then our licensed EMTs that are with the medics on the ambulance working as their partner, we pay out of the fire fund.
So of the 76 people that you said that you have budgeted for this year,
Right.
that does not include the 3 that you have set up for EMS.
It does include it.
It does include them.
Yes.
So okay, that's what I want to know.
Yes.
And also, I spoke with you. I had a phone call. Spoke with both you and Chief Hibbs about FMLA,
Yes.
where it seemed to be a the team that basically called. They were under the. They were trying to initiate the idea that the 2 weeks that was offered, going from 12 to 2, was not enough, and that it may have been a reason to why maybe some people end up leaving the position or whatever. And we had discussed about possibly changing that to 3 weeks for a kid and 6 weeks for a family emergency. Is that still something that you think needs to happen, or is that still something that you feel a change that should be made?
Well, as we discussed on the phone, I was open to changing it from 2 to 3 weeks and from 2 to 6 weeks respectively.
Yes, sir.
But also, as I mentioned, that I don't think that we should do that in lieu of risking hiring 6 additional personnel or perhaps a certain percentage pay increase and some other budgetary items. I don't think that takes priority over some other benefits that we need. It's something I'd be willing to consider maybe in the 2023 budget if we can squeeze that in there.
Okay.
The reason why I initially started with the 2 weeks is because we had already doubled our overtime for the year, and for about 8 months worth of FML requests that I had for maternity leave alone, that was going to cost the city between $75,000 and $100,000. So for me, it was a cost issue. It was an affordability issue. It was a fiscal responsibility issue for us to take 3 steps back and reevaluate it.
Gotcha. Same with you, Chief Hibbs. Okay. Thank you. That's my questions.
Councilmember Raines.
I have a question on the community development block grant. Where is that in?
That is not a budgeted fund.
Okay, so that is completely separate
That is
from the
totally
budgetary process.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I will just use this opportunity to thank Lieutenant Wright for working with our CDBG program in dealing with the blight issue in our community, and just seeing the multiple departments working together to, take care of the same thing is definitely a very appreciated thing for me to see.
I'd like to add that Chief Hibbs, Chief Lobby, I would like to say thank you for being an extremely out there showing your leadership to your men. They know who they can come to and y'all have done an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys definitely lead by example.
Councilmember Blevins.
I have one question, but it's not for them.
Okay.
Whenever we're done with them. Then
Okay, any more questions of these two?
You said it's a.
Run while you can.
Okay. My question is for the city attorney. I noticed on here, for the legal fees, that you had listed $45,000 for legal fees. Is there something coming down the pipe that it just kind of surprised me? I was just
Cheryl and I discussed this. The legal fees, it's really hard to predict the future. A lot of times it depends on if we have employees who appeal their termination, they go to civil service, they appeal that decision, then it goes to circuit court. I'm conflicted out of representing the city because I represent the commissioners, so we have to outsource for that. So it's really hard to budget for that because we never know how much money we'll need there.
absolutely. I wasn't able to make it because
Yeah,
it was
good
the next
question.
day, so I just saw it. I was like, do we have something coming? Like,
Not that I know of.
But you never do know. Yeah. Okay, yes, Councilmember Twitty.
Kevin House, I can't let him out without asking.
That's right. We got to give Kevin, he was sitting over there thinking, I'm getting out of here. Oh, okay. And please state your name for the record.
Kevin House. Yes, ma'am.
Kevin House, I have a question. On this part-time, on the part-time help, it went, can you explain why it went up so much?
Which department?
Department 40? What is that?
We actually moved some positions from athletics to community center. Just, our activity monitors have been budgeted under athletics, so we moved. It makes more sense for them to come out of community center operations.
Okay, I just needed you to explain that because it's such a large difference
I
there.
actually had emailed Cheryl and Carlette on that, as when going through what was presented, I was like, hey, there's a problem here, and that, they reminded me of that.
And also on the janitorial supplies, the preliminary budget was 20,000, the recommended is 0. That is 41, Department 41.
Janitorial supplies are
It
coming out.
moved, okay. Just needed you to explain it. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
You open the door, Kevin. So the part-time help
Can you
moved from athletics
you record?
to admin.
Mike, use your mic.
To center ops, yeah, our admin, I'm not sure.
Yeah, center operations is Department 40.
Right, so that's why it went from what we spent in 2020 of 36,000 to 150,000, because you're moving it out of athletics.
Correct.
But the athletics was 98,000 and we're budgeting 110. So it's up too. So the part-time.
Sorry, I don't do personnel. So, let me start with that. But I do know when Cheryl and Charlotte and I talked, we had talked about moving them. That's what I was assuming the question was, is why it went up. Because it makes sense for center ops to go up. I don't know that I can explain why athletics didn't come down though.
Cheryl, what is the overall increase in the budget for salaries in Parks and Rec? Part-time, full-time, and overtime?
In just Parks and Rec?
Just all the different Parks and Recs combined.
Okay, just a second. It'll take me a minute to.
Okay, if anybody has another question for Kevin while she's doing that,
I don't have a question, but I am noticing that the line that you're talking about, Department 45, the part-time help, the preliminary budget does have it at 209,000 for the year, and they only took 110. Or wait, no. I think I got it flip-flopped.
No, you're right. I mean, it did go down from the preliminary budget, but it didn't go down from, it went up from the last year's budget.
Right, it went up from last year's budget, but there's like a lot of inflation going on, but that is a $99,000 difference.
I'd like to say something. Are you the one that does the hiring over there? at Parks and Recs?
One of.
One of you, yeah. Well, I just would like to commend you and whoever else is doing the hiring over there. They have got some really great people on board over there that's working with the youth and the adult program that they have over there, and it is just, it is, I cannot brag on them enough.
Good to hear.
The people that I come in contact with over there in the sports are like, y'all hit the jackpot.
I've got a great staff on.
You do, and so I want to thank you for what you do over there and your staff. He's got a guy named Joe, I just want to throw that out there, and a new guy named Cody. They are on top of it. And I mean, I cannot brag on these two enough, as well as all the other staff over there. They're all doing a great job, but these two are new to the program and to Parks and Recs, and they're doing an outstanding job. So I don't know their last names, but Joe and Cody.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'd like to piggyback off of that and just jump in and say for sure that you guys have hit the jackpot of employees, because just seeing all of the new special events too that you guys have been doing. I know that this year you guys had like a fun run for the kids, had mud pits out and whole nine, and I know that was really well received.
It was a big hit. It was.
Well, Darla's like the Energizer Bunny over there.
Yeah.
Darla's everywhere. And the social media that she continues doing is really, really well received through the city.
And I'm greatly looking forward to seeing what's new next year, what comes back, and just helping to get the word out and get our community together and playing together.
And Councilmember Blevins.
I have an answer for Mike Traylor.
All right.
Okay, with all of the salary, overtime, part-time, and along with the benefits, everything was increased by 25%. And I do know that part of that increase has to do with APRS, because our part-time people, some of them don't work the required however many hours per month in order to be qualified for APRS. So in the past, we had not budgeted for them to have APRS being paid, but we have found out that we're supposed to report them even if they don't meet those requirements.
Okay, and
So,
if I remember right, that means we pay that money to APRS. When you say
Correct.
report it, that means we pay that money to APRS.
Correct.
But they don't stay long enough to ever receive the benefit of that money, and we don't get it back.
Correct.
It goes to everybody else in the state of Arkansas.
Correct.
Would we not be better off, instead of having two part-time people, to have a full-time person? At least we're paying APRS, they would get the benefit of that.
Let me answer that. That's less hands, bottom line. I can have two part-time and it's two bodies instead of one. Part of that increase as well is the facility maintenance is now falling under Parks. So I've inherited two.
There's a whole budget of $100 and something thousand in salaries for that.
But did you include that in
I've
Parks salary? That would be included.
That's
in
included in Parks salary.
Because it's account number 0148 now is our facility maintenance, and their salaries under that.
And they used to be under Department 17.
And we did also vote for a salary increase. Did this drastically impact your department?
Or that it did. Yes, ma'am, I did.
Dollar value.
Dollar value? It only shows me the percentage.
I'm sure it's at least half of that 25%.
It looks like it went from 1.84 to 2.3 million.
Councilmember Blevins has his hand raised, Chair.
You want to let this question get over with first? I don't want to Mr. Trader, are you good with where we are? Okay, Councilmember Blevins.
I would just like to state also in the budget that Mr. House has set up, it also includes a giant LCD to replace the one that has been gone for like the longest time, which I'm really excited about. And also, he has a plan to hopefully do this staggered over the next couple of years to create a huge informational square for the people of the city of Jacksonville, which I think is awesome. So I think it's great that we're finally getting the big LCD. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Kevin, for your leadership.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, President,
Yes, sir.
also, Kevin, I want to say the groundkeepers doing an excellent job. They're working overtime, they work 7 days a week, they're doing everything. I mean, it's.
I've seen them down here on Sunday.
Great staff. Like I said, I can't brag on them enough. I put our park staff up
Somebody
against
stop by,
them.
have a conversation with them, they help me.
Right.
Pumps.
And most of them like you.
That's hard to believe.
Always ask them what the problem is.
Councilmember Deeds.
Question on, I noticed, thank goodness we're getting 2 more new police vehicles, but how many vehicles, just estimate, I know some detectives do, how many vehicles have we got that's 130, 140,000 miles? Yeah, I mean, whatever, but I'm just saying, you know, it's something we need to look into. Again, you know, it takes a long time to get them, but, you know, you got your officers and detectives, nobody driving around in vehicles. And,
I think we have a couple new.
yeah, I know we got 2
detectives.
new ones, but I'm asking, we budgeted for 70 people, we got 59, so down the road, but just your opinion on our vehicles and maintenance, you know, when you start getting 130, 150,000 miles on them, it's not safe, I don't think.
It's a tough question. I don't know how many are over 100, 130, but a lot. But I'll tell you, and I've talked to Cheryl about this. There are cheaper cars, but we buy the Ford SUVs. They're all-wheel drive. I am very happy with the way they hold up in maintenance, staying on the road. And the officers don't like them because it's hard to pursue in them. But I like that because we're not pursuing them. All right, so we pursue when we need to. Sometimes they get away. They're not the fastest car out there. They're not the cheapest, but they're hold up, which means my maintenance is under budget. And my maintenance budget's been doing really well. And so I like paying a little more for their cars that we're not going to have to maintain. That makes it easier on the city garage and all of them. And we keep them on the road. It's more important to me that they're on the road, not broke down at the garage.
Yes, sir.
You can't outrun the radio.
No, you know, they do well. They do well in pursuits. They're pursuit rated and all that. We buy pursuit rated vehicles. But, I mean, it's an SUV, you know, and they're pretty quick, but
right.
We're facing Dodge Challengers and Chargers and Mustangs. And I'm going to tell you, our pursuit, I don't have a number right now because I'll have it on the end of the year budget. I'm sorry, end of the year report. Pursuits have gone up tremendously across the country. The state police are reporting cars writing tickets over 100 miles an hour has gone up like 100%. I don't know, it's a lot.
Yes.
Huge number. So everybody's seeing that. They're running from, we had 2-3 pursuits this week already. A lot of them jump on the freeway and they're gone.
Right.
Sometimes we catch them, sometimes we don't.
I mean, like I said, all the departments do great, and y'all, especially with the vehicles you got, but it's something I think we ought to.
We're trying to build that up, and the mayor's been really good about that. We went 5 years without buying a car. That hurt us tremendously. And right now, we're building the fleet back up, and we're buying the SUVs, and I'm keeping more cars on the road. We push the officers to take better care of them, not drive them, rag them out and all that stuff, the way they drive. And it's doing pretty well. I'm kind of happy with it.
Okay.
But we do have several cars that are over 130 miles an hour, or 130,000 miles. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, but no, I appreciate all the work that you're doing and buying better vehicles, keeping them. But I want to make sure our officers, for sure, are safe.
Councilmember Raines.
So, first off, I want to thank you for being proactive in getting us those numbers. One thing that I would like to see when we do receive those numbers is the difference between pursuits that started in city limits versus coming off of the interstate, like the situation I had discussed with you. But yeah, as an IT geek, I have been very much seeing the trend of people even recording themselves doing stupid things and
That's
being in pursuit.
I don't know why, but nationwide, the driving, y'all seen it around town. It's just terrible since the pandemic last year.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Nobody knows why, but it's bad. But I like the data too, and that's why I want to see it. I even hired an analyst this year in a position I wasn't using, and just to gather all that, because none of us have time for that. So
Right.
I'm trying to do more of that, crime analysis.
Greatly appreciate it.
Any more questions of Cheryl, department head, Councilmember Blevins?
I have just one more question. On the budget for the office of the mayor, it was set up the $13,000 for the person that sits at the desk up at the front. Did that money get moved somewhere, or did they change?
Yeah, we moved it from the mayor's office down to Human Resources Department. It's in the Human Resources Department.
Her
But-
supervisor is HR.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I just know that it was in there and it wasn't now. Is it
Right.
still also 13,000?
It's still 13,000.
Okay.
Yes.
I've got one more question.
All right. Councilmember Trailer.
Two more questions.
All
Are we
right.
hiring
You
a
can have
city-
three.
Are we hiring a city engineer?
We have it in the budget.
Okay.
And so, we've been advertising for that position, just we haven't had any applicants.
Yes, my understanding is they have not, like she said, haven't had any applicants. I had discussed with Mr. Oakley about possibly having it to where they don't have to have the certification coming in, that they're willing to get that when they're employed with us. The accreditation that we're asking is above and beyond typical industry standards.
Okay. I got one more question. Or not really a question, I guess a comment. Now, I understand fire department, police department, and I'm coming to understand Parks and Rec. They're a quality of life thing. That's why, we bring in we spend more money than we do. But look at our court costs.
Mm-hmm.
What are our court costs? I'm seeing $518,000 for court costs. And we collect $200,000 in fines, so we're spending $300,000. We're losing $300,000 a year in courts.
Yes.
Why?
I do not have an answer for that. I do know that our judge is a Pulaski County employee, and she's a part-time, she splits her time between us and Maumelle. We do have 5 employees that are city employees over there this year.
And we just added one, right?
And that made it 5, yes.
It just seems like if there's one thing that ought to be self-sufficient, would be the courts. I would think it would be something that was actually generating money for the city, not costing us $300,000.
Maybe we should look back 8 or 9 years and see what went on.
Yeah, I was about to say, wasn't it generating funds when Baton was?
It was different, yes, about double or more.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor, what I was told is it's a lot more lenient, and they're not finding the people like they used to. When you find the people when they do something wrong and they have to pay the fine, it brings money in. If an officer does his
Probably
job,
do it again too.
huh?
It might not do it again too.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So
It's
if
supposed to be
you're
a
lenient
deterrent,
and you let people off, and they did something wrong, they'll probably do it again if they get fined, which is what they ought to get if you do something wrong. Then it brings that revenue in, Mike, and that's where we need to get the revenue up. That's how it happens.
I realize she doesn't work for us,
but
that's $300,000. We're going to have a balanced budget, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Correct. So that's $300,000 more dollars that could go to Chief Laffey,
Yes.
to Chief Hibbs,
Yes.
even maybe a little bit to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes.
And in the past, whenever I've...
Problem is collecting.
Uh-huh.
You can't collect. If the people ain't gonna pay, how you gonna make him pay? You put him in jail, you still gotta call him. You can't collect.
In the past, whenever I've asked the judge this question, I've been told that her hands are tied to what the statutes allow her to do. And that's the response that I got from her on those.
But there would be record of the what she actually puts on the book of if it is the minimum or the maximum for that statute.
I do not know what they do over there, the records.
So is it possible to bring in the judge and ask her these questions? I think that would be a great idea. Can we set that up for the next city council meeting?
Yeah, I will send you an email.
Perfect.
With that being said, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion for us to table the budget for next meeting until we get those answers.
Is the only answer the judge? What are we looking for so that we can be
I don't think
working?
it's gonna change what we do in the budget.
No, it's not.
What about the Boys and Girls Club?
It's in there. I mean, it's
Yeah,
already
it's
in the
We,
budget.
we,
It's in there,
we
but
actually,
as soon as they sign the contract, then they will have that
And it's
access.
budgeted already.
actually what we have in Department 48 for the extra buildings outline, not including our normal departments, I have $50,000 in there for building and maintenance for the other buildings.
And how many buildings total are there?
Well, that 50,
For that,
yeah, that 50,000, it would cover, the senior center, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Chamber of Commerce building, and the Historical Society building. No?
Because they technically fall under us.
Okay, so that takes, okay, so then it's those.
just the 3 buildings.
Isn't that right, Kevin? Yeah.
Okay.
What about Martin Street? Is it covered under that?
Martin Street is not covered under
Okay.
that. No.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just in case something happens that we're ready.
Right, it's the maintenance for
Right.
the buildings and having them up to date.
Yeah. We still do take care of the yard at the Boys and Girls Club. We just don't enter the building until we have a signed lease because of the liability issues. That says you can come in my building and do this. Yeah, that's, so I mean, I do understand if we're not gonna change the budget, should we wait or should we pass it? I'm just asking you all that
Where
question.
are we at on it?
Pardon me?
Where are we at on it?
We just put it on first reading. We haven't even approved it on first reading and, okay, I'd entertain a motion.
I make that
Will,
motion.
you made a motion. Do you have a second on your motion to table? I don't wanna,
Oh, no, I don't wanna table it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not going to directly impact, I mean, it does raise a lot of questions for me personally, seeing, the difference between the projected versus what they're asking. But if that's not going to directly impact a lot of everything else, then,
okay,
and we can amend that should they
Certainly.
not need 520.
certainly.
Okay.
Okay. Councilmember Trader, are you making a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Making a motion to approve on first reading. All right, and place on second reading. All right, motion second, roll call.
Councilmember Deeds,
Yay.
Bolden, Levens,
Aye. Yes.
Sansing,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Mashburn,
Yes.
Trailer,
Aye.
Twitty,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve on second reading, put on third and final reading.
Second.
Okay, how about discussion? Any more discussion from,
I just
yes,
want you're definitely good with this, right, Councilmember Raines? You don't have any other questions or anything?
I do not have any questions for the departments that have been here today and have been more than helpful in understanding the budget.
Would you like more time to look at this budget?
I would like more time if we can just approve the third and final reading at the next meeting.
it's up to y'all. And so, we're putting it on the third and final reading, so that we're gonna approve the second if we vote now. And then we can wait on the third if that's how the vote falls.
Yeah, that's what
If
I'm
that's how the vote
saying.
falls.
Yeah.
Y'all, the budget is balanced. What more can you do?
Okay, so roll call.
Well, what are we roll calling for?
Well, we have a motion and a second to approve on second reading and place on third and final reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, roll call.
Councilmember Deeds,
Yay.
Councilmember Bolden. Councilmember Blevins.
Aye.
Councilmember Sansing.
Yes.
Councilmember Ray.
Yes.
Councilmember Mashburn.
Aye.
Councilmember Trailer.
Aye.
Councilmember Twitty.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Raines.
Aye.
Okay. And if we want to put it off to next meeting, that's up to y'all, but it's time for me to ask if there's a motion to adopt and approve.
Well, hold on.
Got a motion and a second, so Councilmember.
I had my hand up. So.
Okay, well, we gotta get the motion out there before we can ask for a question. We're not roll calling, it's out there. So now then,
Well, I
discussion.
just wanted to say that I'd like to make a motion for us to table this till next city
Okay,
council meeting.
that's a proper motion.
Just-
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Yay.
Let's roll call it. And this is to table it till the next meeting.
I don't think there should be any, it doesn't hurt anything.
Okay, discussion's over. Roll call.
When did we discuss?
Councilmember Deets.
Nay.
Councilmember Bolden. Councilmember Blevins.
Aye.
Councilmember Sansing.
Aye.
Councilmember Ray.
Nay.
Councilmember Mashburn.
No.
Councilmember Trailer.
Believe it or not, no.
Councilmember Twitty.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
No.
Councilmember Raines.
Aye.
That would be 4-6.
So it didn't pass to table it.
Yeah, because it needs 2/3.
Right.
Well,
Just
okay, we're not, this is on the motion to table it. The motion to table failed.
simple majority.
Okay.
Right. All right. Now then, we have a motion, a second, to approve and adopt. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Bolden.
Aye.
What about Mr. Deeds?
I skipped around.
Oh, okay, you're confusing me.
Do that.
That's confusing.
Hey, I like it. I didn't have to vote first.
Start down there.
I will. Councilmember Raines.
Oh, watch out, here she comes towards you. This is to approve and adopt.
Oh, okay, no.
Okay.
You're going around. All right. I like this. I'm not the last one to vote.
Councilmember Deets.
Yay.
Councilmember Blevins. A or nay?
Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Mashburn.
Aye.
Councilmember Trailer.
Aye.
Councilmember Sansing.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Ray.
Aye.
Councilmember Twitty. You're the last one to vote, by the way.
How do you like it?
How do you like
Rest and over abstain.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so, now then, what, I did,
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yes, thank you, Cheryl.
okay, we still got an emergency clause, so I entertain a motion to approve the emergency clause.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. No, we gotta do a roll call, sorry.
Councilmember Raines.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Twitty.
You're messing me up.
Councilmember Twitty.
I said aye.
Okay. Councilmember Trailer.
Aye.
Councilmember Mashburn.
Aye.
Councilmember Ray.
Aye.
Councilmember Sansing.
Aye.
Councilmember Blevins.
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden.
Guma guma.
Councilmember Deets.
Okay, so, before we adjourn, it's time for announcements. I want to announce that we have the Christmas parade, December 4th, which is Saturday at 3 p.m. And following that, we're going to have lighting in the chambers, putting lighting in the Christmas tree, a live nativity scene. We got bouncy houses and food trucks. So it's a day of fun for the citizens of Jacksonville. So anybody can be there, be there. All right, council member.
6 Hour is doing a gun raffle. It's to benefit the Christmas with the Cops, the program for 2021. Officer Wright is your contact person, or you can send an email to jdillfop16@gmail.com. The drawing will be held December the 13th. The tickets are $20 a piece, or 3 for $50. So.
Is it for a Remington gun? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't know guns. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, they are,
So could we contact Officer Wright to get a ticket if we wanted one?
Yes, there's 3 others.
I have an announcement as well.
He's here, so that, or you can send in, to the email address.
Okay. Councilmember Blevins.
I hate that this is probably going to end on a bad note or anything, but I just wanted to let everybody know we lost an incredible individual by the name of Dean Douglas. His wife owns D2 Comics and More.
Yes.
I've known Dean for a long time. They have an incredible store. They love this community. Dean loves this community. His last official act was to save a bunch of people. It was a horrible accident that happened, and it really sucks that we lost one of the good ones here in town. I just wanted to let everybody know that he was like an absolute great guy, and he will be missed.
Yeah, that was a real shame. He loves Jacksonville, or he did. Yeah. Anything else to come before this council? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We're adjourned. Cheryl, I have something for you.
Have a good night.
What was I going to ask Christine?